I'm Brian Gilliard. I'm the police chief here in Monroe. I'd like to welcome you to the 2020 Peace Officers Memorial Ceremony. Although we're not doing it in person this year, we still want to remember the officers who paid the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for your service to our community.
Hello, I'm Craig Bradshaw, the Chief of Police for the town of Wingate. As you know, May is National Police Week. You know, we'd like to go out to all the officers that lost their lives and have a little time of memory for them, and you know, our prayers go out to the families and all the officers that sacrificed during this time. This is a little bit different for everybody. You know, we're doing this on video instead of live due to the COVID crisis. So, you know, we just want to take time out to thank everybody for their service and, you know, prayers for everyone.
Hey, I'm Mike Geis from the Waxhaw Police Department, Chief of Police here. This is coming up on a somber week for us with Police Memorial Week, and it's something that affects the law enforcement community all across the country. We, as the Waxhaw Police Department, during this week, remember two officers. Back in 2005, we had a police canine that was tracking a rape suspect in the middle of July, and ended up getting a heat stroke and succumbing to its injuries. And then we also have Officer Richard Belk, who is a good friend of mine and an officer here at the Waxhaw Police Department, who got injured in a training accident in 2010, and through many surgeries ended up dying of pneumonia. So we try to remember these officers every year when it comes to this time. But please remember the officers across the country, both the ones that are serving, the ones that have passed, and keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Matt Thompson. I'm the Chief of Police of Marshall Police Department. I'm here today to celebrate National Police Week. I want all of y'all to remember the ones that have sacrificed everything to give freedom to everybody else. Thank you for your support.
My name is Dennis Franks. I'm the Chief of the Stallings Police Department. I saw a quote a few weeks ago that said, "A man's value is not measured by his wealth, but measured by the service to his community." It's on this week and this day of May 15th that we remember the officers that gave the ultimate sacrifice of service to their community. So with that, I just ask you to remember the families and those officers that gave their lives to serve their communities.
Hi, I'm Tony Underwood with the Union County Sheriff's Office. It's my honor and privilege to introduce the keynote speaker for this year's Peace Officers Memorial Day service. Deputy Sheriff Jim Kennedy has 33 years of total law enforcement experience, 20 of which were spent with the New York City Police Department, where he specialized as an investigator in the homicide squad. Deputy Kennedy continued his law enforcement service in Union County, where he began with the Union County Sheriff's Office in April 2007, serving in the Community Resource Bureau as a school resource officer. Through his career, Kennedy has received several significant awards, including Police Officer of the Year 1991, Detective of the Year 1999, School Resource Officer of the Year 2011. In addition, in 2009, he was nominated as a Top Cops recipient by the National Association of Police Organizations for solving the murder of a 7-year-old female who was an abused child and murdered by her parents. Her death impacted the New York City's Administration for Children's Services and prompted immediate reforms to the system. Jim has been married to his wife Denise for nearly 34 years. They have 4 children, Brendan, Connor, Fallon, and Riley. Please welcome Jim Kennedy.
Greetings. My name is Jim Kennedy, Deputy Sheriff of the Union County Sheriff's Office. It is my honor and privilege to address the families of our fallen officers, my brothers and sisters of law enforcement, and neighbors in our communities across the county on the 39th Annual Peace Officers Memorial Service. In 1962, President John F. Kennedy signed a proclamation which designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day. This special event, now known as National Police Week, has become one of the most recognized events in our society to date. Today, we honor and remember our law enforcement community and commemorate their service and sacrifice. Every day, the men and women of law enforcement put their lives on the line to protect this great country of ours. As law enforcement officers, we pledge to go where others run away. We are the thin blue line that protects the rights of our citizens and allows our communities to live peacefully. The badge we wear signifies our conduct, courage, and dedication to public service in our communities. It is the emblem of integrity, law, and justice for all. The shield safeguards us from harm, watches over our innocence of our young. We, the living, need to honor them, take care of them, and rededicate ourselves to them as a last full measure of devotion. I know firsthand the burdens of the job, and this is a very challenging time for our law enforcement officers. In the last 3 decades, I have witnessed the crack wars of the 1980s, the 9/11 terrorist attacks, and the current pandemic facing the nation. Today, approximately 1,582 law enforcement officers have died in the line of duty during the past 10 years, which is an average of 1 officer every 55 hours. Law enforcement saw its deadliest day in history on September 11th, 2001, when officers responded to the terrorist attacks on America. On that beautiful, cloudless morning that seemed to promise nothing but goodness, 72 law enforcement officers were killed on American soil. The most common question that I am asked is, where were you on September 11th? That question has become part of the fabric of American lives. On 9/11, I was with heroes. The New York City Police Department lost 23 officers that day and thousands of victims. I've seen a lot of death in my years as a law enforcement officer, but when it's one of your own, it hits home. Law enforcement officers share a lifetime of camaraderie that few others will ever experience. In our family, nobody fights alone. When one law enforcement officer goes down, the entire nation of law enforcement suffers that loss. I spent many months at Ground Zero. What started out as a rescue mission searching for survivors quickly turned into the recovery of human remains. The aftermath of 9/11 still haunts law enforcement officers till this day. Nearly 100,000 responders are monitored and treated for illnesses related to 9/11. 19 years later, hundreds of law enforcement officers routinely continue to die. The number of NYPD officers whom have died from 9/11 related illnesses since 2001 greatly exceeds the 23 officers who have died the day of the attacks. Now, nearly 20 years later, the COVID-19 pandemic separates the number of law enforcement officers' lives that were taken from us due to the September 11th terrorist attacks. Once again, our law enforcement is at a greater risk. To date, 56 officers have died in the line of duty due to COVID-19. As the fear winds down, another battle is just beginning. Never forget for one moment that blessed are the peacemakers, for they are called the children of God. Thank you, and may God bless our law enforcement, Union County, and the United States of America.
We're coming to you today at a time in our state and our county that's very difficult for us. It is a time that we're operating under this coronavirus, but it's also a time that we want to remember the officers that have gone on before us, that have led this county to what this agency is today. In order for us to do just a small celebration, we're making this video. And as you heard, as the chiefs have represented their agency and spoke to you about the things that going on in their towns and how they feel about this, very important that you realize that we all feel the same way. We all feel the respect that we get from the community, and we also want you to realize the respect that we give to you as being our community. We are here to just say thank you for supporting us, to remember that it is Law Enforcement Week. So think about what's going on in our county and in our state. But the people that have gone on before us, we're here today. We want to point out Jeff Green, Sergeant Jeff Green, that was killed in the line of duty here for this agency. How important he was to this agency. How important his family and April were to this agency. So just to give you a little bit of the ability to realize how we feel, just say thank you, and thank you for all you do for our community, and thank you for being the people that live in our county.